New to the game or looking to get started? I'm Greg, and this video will tell you the basics of how to begin playing Guild Wars 2. I'll introduce a few rudimentary systems, and by the end of this video, you'll be good and ready to explore the open world content that Guild Wars 2 has to offer. If you're considering giving it a shot, Guild Wars 2 has all the core content available for free, and it is a lot of content. It kept me satisfied for years since I was playing back in vanilla, or core as we like to say it in Guild Wars 2, core. So register on their website, download it, and boot it up. Free accounts do have some restrictions. You may not be able to hop over the Lion's Arch as I demonstrate in the video, but you will have access to all the core game, and there's plenty to do before you decide to invest in the expansions. There's also no subscription requirements, but you knew that already, didn't you? I'll be remaking a character of mine, Explosive Sally, an Ashura engineer. I'll be playing through the game's content in these videos to introduce its world to you. I'll explain a few differences and options here and there as time goes on. Now let's create our character and start playing. So, making your character. Well, I have a good little selection here. You see, I put in some work in the game. It's been a while. We're going to go over here, make a new character. We're going to make an Ashura. We're going to go engineer. Because again, I'm remaking an engineer I already had that I pretty much just used for PvP and whatnot. You go ahead and you can spend some time, changing their shape and the design, making sure some stuff doesn't clip like ears on the Ashura. It likes to clip with their hair a lot. When you're done with all that and you press next, you'll have a few options. You'll now have some options that change depending on your class and race. The very first one is a engineer option. Every class is different. A little tip, if you want, after you made your character, you can kind of go in and remake characters just to select these different ones and unlock it for your account. Your next thing is going to be something relating to your story. As an Ashura, you have the different colleges and inventions. I don't really know what the effect these have on the story. I kind of know they have a different thing depending on your race. I don't recall seeing these characters. Type in your name and then you're ready to begin with the tutorial.
This is my story.
Look at you! Welcome to the world! So now you have your character and you look how happy she is. The game starts you off in this little instance tutorial place with other new players, and you have access to just one skill at the start, your action attack skill. My character's currently just wielding a pistol and nothing else. And then of course you have your healing skill, which you're probably not going to need for the tutorial. You see you're pointed right in the direction of the person you need to talk to advance things to get through the tutorial. That's just kind of showing you the basics of moving around, interacting in the game world. You jump around a bit, talk to this NPC, and realize your character has a voice and a personality.
It's pure chaos out here. Unacceptable. What's going on?
Jump through a portal, fight a squad of some enemies, be introduced to an easy boss fight, get knocked down your rear, hear an NPC get drowned out by audio. Then you're in Metrica Province. It's starting you off here at level 2. There you see I got a pistol, which is a direct upgrade. You see that you get these little notifications. You can click on things to get more information, the awards you earn from leveling up, and then a little sneak preview of what's to come. And if you go ahead and you look, you see your second skill is now unlocked. And I can open my inventory, equip the new pistol, whatever it is, it's going to be completely objectively better than whatever I have. Now you're going to want to run up to this little guy. He's a scout. You right click on him. He's going to give you an overview of your current area that you're in. This is helpful for kind of putting stuff on your map. You can press M to open, and he's going to kind of outline different quest areas for you. Heart quest is one of the most rudimentary things you're going to want to know. Basically, your quests are not really accepted and turned in traditionally. You basically, when you move into the range of the quest, you'll notice it appear in the upper right-hand side of your screen, and the things that you start doing begin filling a bar. Once that's done, you are immediately given the award for the quest. Like I said, you're not turning it in as normal. And then, when you are finished, the person who actually has the heart over their head, you'll see in the world, the quest giver that you don't really need to interact with, they begin to sell some items and stuff, most of which you don't really need at the low levels. It's good to save your money and karma, but it's there. Now, something to note, as I've been playing for a good bit and have both expansions that are out, I do have mounts, I do have gliding. I will be using them just to get around the world faster. You don't need them starting out. In fact, the entirety of the core game was designed to where you don't need mounts, since there's so many waypoints that you just instantly teleport to all around. Mounts do help you get around much faster. They increase your movement drastically. I am going to be using them since I've already explored all the core content, and I will be using the glider. I'm currently in a Heart Quest area, and if you notice, there's this orange on the upper right hand side of the screen, this orange text kind of explain what's going on. This is a group event, and as you see, there's a couple other players doing it too. We're kind of defending this enemy, or defending this ally rather, from these enemies that are attacking it, and everyone participating in this group event gets credit for it. The one thing that is really nice about Guild Wars 2 is that these events are some of the best things ever. They give excellent experience and rewards for your dedication to it, and every player that's there gets full credit depending on how much they participate. So if you're AFKing around, you're probably not going to get really much of anything at all. But you see, we're all here gunning down the enemies and whatnot. What is kind of nice is that when you see players in the open, feel free to just run in and immediately start helping them out, shooting the enemies with them. There's no experience penalty for doing so. There's nothing detrimental whatsoever from teaming up with players randomly in the open, and none of us here are in a group, and yet we're all getting full credit. We're all getting items and rewards for participating in this event. And of course, we're all going to get a nice reward at the end, a little bonus chunk of experience that kind of moves things forward for us. So that is kind of nice. If you're coming from another MMO, like World of Warcraft, you know there's an experience cut. And you see right there, it was completed, and they got a nice chunk of experience there at the bottom filling up, and some karma, which is a resource you'll accumulate over time. Really nice. If you're coming from WoW, you know there's an experience cut. If you're coming from Black Desert Online, where you get angry if you see other players, it's completely opposite here. So what I ended up doing is I ended up continuing this Heart Quest, which is, again, automatically accepted just because I'm in the area, and it lights up. And each of these Heart Quests are going to be different, and usually they have a variety of little objectives. Killing enemies, that fills it, or clicking things in the environment. And so what I actually end up doing is just going around and clicking some of the golems that you see that activate. There's really no real wrong answers. I'm sure you can figure out a pattern to it, but most of it is just a good bit of color and fun. Now I'm just kind of watching a little cutscene with another player that nothing's really going to happen here. But you basically, the Heart Quests all have a good bit of diversity to them. Usually basic requirements such as killing specific enemies, which is always nice to have that bottom baseline objective, and then a good bit of variety sprinkled on top of it. So I continue on, I mount up, and what I'm going to be doing here is exploring. Now there's a good couple of ways to explore the world. You see the different points on the map and whatnot. You can go out them and just start pushing through them one at a time, and completing the Heart Quests as you happen about them, or you can just kind of do what I'm doing here as an example, is I'm just focusing on getting all the different points of interest and vistas and whatnot, and just filling those out first rather than completing all the Heart Quests. And of course you see this is a vista. I already got some experience. I went ahead and showed it again, so you get like a nice little panning view of the environment, and these are just kind of nice to look at. It's nice if you want to get yourself a little wallpaper, and just kind of seeing some different places. Sometimes they'll point out things, new locations to travel to. One of the things that I enjoy is just kind of scoping out an area first, and then going through it again to do all the Heart Quests. And you see right here, there's another Heart Quest that's popped up because I'm in its area. And one of the aspects to this one is clicking on these enemies that the part of the inquests, and they're a faction in the game that basically brainwash and kidnap people and whatnot. So they're part of the assurance story mainly, and you'll see them pop up in the main story from time to time. And you can talk to the Heart Quest givers, basically, that you really don't need to interact with, but you can, and usually they'll explain some of the things you can do to help out to kind of fill that Heart Quest bar. And basically, whatever it is that you're doing in the area that you see fills it, gives you experience. I happened upon this enemy that, this random event where this, beast is on the loose. I end up gunning it down for some experience, and just some different events popping up randomly in the world that other people suddenly joined in at the end. We all got some experience. I leveled up, You get some karma, some currency from it. You know, and you can see I got some more level up rewards there that are kind of nice. Something that fit my character well. And then you just continue exploring, which is kind of nice. This game offers, you know, significant, very well crafted areas to explore in general. And then you can kind of roam around and just pick things up on the map itself, and then come back later and fill in your heart quest, or you can just do it all. Sometimes I'll just grind some enemies because I think it's fun. If you ever heard of the Bartle test, anything like that, it has plenty to satisfy all players, wherever you land on the Bartle spectrum, right? I'm more of the Slayer type, and so sometimes I'll just kill a bunch of monsters or just hop in PvP, which I haven't done in a good while though, but I really enjoy just slaying enemies sometimes. So it is fun just to kind of stop and grind some stuff up. But you never have to really grind. Any kind of grinding that you see yourself doing in the future is basically going to be if you want some really exclusive stuff, like legendaries or some rare things that are very much significant achievements. This over here is kind of interesting. You get experience for reviving anyone who's downed, be it NPC and players. And you see right there I got some experience for reviving that NPC, which is part of a heart quest, and I quickly moved on. But anyone can revive anybody. It just takes time. You see that bar filled with the health, but you get experience for doing it. And so anytime you see a player that's downed, it'll show up on your map in the world. You can revive them for experience, and usually they'll say thanks. There's a good bit here, but they're part of this quest that I've stumbled upon. On the good old ooze boss with a missing texture. I'm pretty sure this texture has been missing for about 7 years now, so if you know where to find it, please let ANET know. But aside from the fact that the boss is clearly missing a texture, easy little thing. You see another player there showed up, and we just kind of kill this thing for some quick, sudden experience. I have only 2 skills still. I'm making the most use of them as we chew through this content. It's a very dynamic world. Stuff is always happening all the time. Players will jump right into your rescue and help you out. You'll suddenly stumble upon big events, and sometimes in some places, depending if you're around a world boss, you'll see like almost looks like 100 or so people all gathered out for one boss. So it can get pretty dynamic. And a lot of maps, especially where there's a lot of meta events on the different maps, kind of more expansion content, and even in the core content, you'll see groups of tons of people running around doing events and completing objectives. It's pretty dynamic, pretty lively, all over the place, really. Especially considering this is a starting area. The content doesn't really get old. Even when you surpass it in level, you can still come back and get benefit from it because it scales your level, and I'll be talking about that a little bit later. Each of the starting areas also has these little spaces you can go pick up a treasure chest. It basically is just teaching you how to dodge. And so dodging is super crucial, especially when you get into the higher level content. You're going to want to use it. You're going to want to make a good habit of it early and often, moving out enemy attacks and whatnot. Moving on, you see another heart quest area. I'm going to slip in here, grab another hero point. You can just kind of push through this content pretty fast. This is the kind of confined opening area, and then there's a fuller map, which we'll get to explore. ArenaNet is really good at knowing what MMO players like to do and dinking around a lot. You'll just find these random places where you can kind of platform across. In fact, actually, you have over here, you jump across these platforms, and you see those diving goggles. You run over to them and click on them. That'll let you dive into the water. Your character you click on will put on the bathing suit, and then you can lunge in and do a spin or a flip. Of course, I've done this millions of times already, so I've already gotten whatever achievement there probably was here. And you'll find places like that all just randomly out in the world, sometimes even in story instances. Just little rewards for exploring. I'm on my skimmer mount, and it lets me kind of cruise across water. And then when I dive in, you actually have a whole underwater combat system that it's not unlocked yet for this character because I think you have to be level 8. My character's not quite there yet, but all the skills at the bottom are locked, but still I can dive around explore, and I can still dash if there's enemies. I can kind of move out of harm's way. Picked up a point of interest while underwater, and kind of continue making my way through Metrica. Here I returned to one of the heart quests and talked to the NPC that gave it, and they gave me a little NPC follower that lets me, press these little clickies to fill the heart bar a little faster. These little clickies in the environment you can click on, and it's very redundant. And so as I run around, I can revive these enemies. I have my little follower there. They're not going to last. They're just there for the quest is all. And that's going to let me fill up the bar pretty quick. So it's always good. If you kind of don't know what to do with a heart quest, you can always talk to the NPCs. Sometimes they're going to give you like a little follower that follows you around that lets you click on it. And look at that. It's heart quest is already completed. So I'm pretty much done with my follower once I leave the area. And now the NPC will also be a vendor of sorts, but you kind of get the idea. Is you can just kind of move around, explore, do what you want, and just kind of the world just opens up for you, really. Now, say that you've been playing for a bit and you kind of want to go explore another starting area. We're going to go into Radasum, which is the Assuran city, and we're going to actually head over to the Lion's Arch. Now, if you are playing on a free account, you will probably not be able to get the Lion's Arch until I think level 25 or 35. I can't remember. But if you do have the game, you purchased the core or with the expansions, you can head over to the Lion's Arch. You can kind of explore the city, and each city that you explore has points of interest and vistas to check out. I recommend going through and getting the points of interest and whatnot. Probably after you've cleared the first map of wherever it is that you're wanting to adventure. At least, if I cleared out Metrica Province, then I'd come back and get all these POIs and vistas. You are going to want them eventually. It's really painless to pick up. And it's kind of cool to see all the different places that there is to explore. And you'll see things like there's a home instance, which I'm not going to get into. But little portals here in Radasum that head to different areas to explore with different POIs and whatnot. What we're actually looking for on the northern side of this area, on this map, is going to be the portal to Lion's Arch, the Nashura Gate. We're going to go head over here to Lion's Arch, and the very first time you actually show up in Lion's Arch, it's going to give you a little cutscene. So, I'm going to jump through into Lion's Arch, and then the cutscene plays. I am kind of speeding up the loading screens a bit, but this kind of shows off what Lion's Arch looks like. Now, why do I keep bringing it up? Because this is the central hub where most all the players go. This is where you're going to do a lot of your trading, a lot of your crafting. You're going to do your banking and whatnot is all done through here. You have portals to every major city. So much is accessible through Lion's Arch. It's the central place where most players congregate when they're not out adventuring. So after this lovely cutscene, it's actually going to drop me off, not at the Ashura Gate I came out of, but at the actual entrance of the city that you'd have to enter in a long time ago. Lion's Arch itself is a unique hub in the fact that it's been rebuilt. It had an earlier shape, it was destroyed and then rebuilt again. Or it was destroyed and then you had to destroy Lion's Arch you had to play in for a bit, and I remember those days. And it used to be you're in the Crusaders outpost, which if you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. But this is basically new Lion's Arch ever since those days. So what we're going to want to do is going to head over to the portals. You're going to see there's plenty of POIs to pick up. The first stop over here is actually going to be the Traders Forum. This is going to be one of your most traveled to places. You see there's lots of these your bankers up here that you talk to, and I'm going to visit them real quick and talk to them and fill my inventory with some bags that I kind of had prepared for this character. You can craft bags, buy them from vendors, or get them off the trading post. I'm just going to go ahead and throw these in. Because inventory space, you're going to find out, is at an absolute premium in this game. You're definitely going to want as much inventory space as possible. From there, you can run out. You see there's going to be the crafting area. I leveled up just from exploring and picking up these POIs because they all give experience. This is your crafting place, so you can talk to all the different crafting trainers if you want to pick it up. I'm not big on crafting. I probably will get into it at some point for some of the more exclusive stuff. You can make some really good stuff with crafting, like inventory slot bags. Even if you're, I think Armorsmith, I believe, even has their own kind of like inventory boxes they can craft. And then you head in here. This is your trading post. You can pick up anything that you have. Here at the trading post itself, you see I have 14 silver. And I'm just going to quickly hit take all, pocket that, I'm good. I don't want to hear any poor jokes from some of you veterans out there. I know I only have 82 gold roughly right now because I typically spend the gold once I make it. You'll find this is not a game that's going to, not going to shower you. That's the word I'm looking for. It's not going to shower you in gold. It definitely isn't. So there's a lot you got to do to make some good money to get some good stuff in the game. It does get easier the higher level you are because you're less restricted to the things you can do to make money. So the farms can become pretty profitable. After picking up this vista, I'm going to make my way over to the waypoints, the sure gates that head to the other race's starting city. You see they're right there, eastern side of the map. My character's going to bolt over there now, and we're going to look at another starting area I want to go, because if you actually have the game, the core version of the game, you can hop to another starting city if you like. This is not something I recommend everyone does. If you like Metrica or wherever you have to start out, you can stay there. But you see here we have, there's the Grove for the Silvari starting area. There's the Black Citadel for the Char, which is my favorite race that I typically play. You have all of the major starting areas. I think one of these is a higher level than the rest. Let's kind of introduce later. We're going to head over to the Grove because I want to go level up in Caledon Forest, which is the Silvari starting area. You see, there's the Grove. We're going to go ahead and jump through the portal. I am again cutting out some of the time of the loading screens. But once you get to the Grove itself, you can go and explore, pick up the POIs if you want. I'm not going to do that, but we're going to actually head up to that waypoint there. It's open, already unlocked once you show up in the main city. We're going to run out to it anyways, just so I can pick up some of these waypoints on the way there. Grab the one by the door. Magica Province and Caledon Forest are part of what's known as the Maguma Jungle. In fact, Heart of Thorns has a lot to do with that. It's much more expansive, but this is the original area of the Maguma Jungle, split between Metrica Province and Caledon Forest. These they're all part of that same region. And then here we are at the Silvari starting area. Why did I choose this? Because I love the environment. I think it's beautiful. You talk to the scout. The scout starts laying out some different locations on your map, and there's a lot to see and do in this game. And Caledon Forest is probably my favorite early game map to showcase because it's fun, it's beautiful to look at, the quests are really great, and then right here you jump right in. I didn't have to really do anything. I didn't really have to talk to the scout to be able to start this heart quest. It just showed it up on my map. I went to the area, now I'm kicking trees, and the Moa's going to run around and pick up the fruit. It's building that bar in the upper right hand corner of the screen. I can start pulling these termites out of the ground and start killing them off, or just kind of killing them if I spot them out in the open already. Kicking trees, killing termites. Very easy and smooth to kind of complete the quest however I feel like, which is kind of nice. Easy early experience and whatnot. And there's so much to this province itself. I'm going to kind of showcase it for most of this video, showing you different objectives in the world that are on all these maps. There's so much to explore when you go off the beaten path. Now, over in this area, one of the things I like to show off is a jumping puzzle. This is the first of several jumping puzzles that are actually in Caledon Forest. I made a terrible jump there, ended up near at the bottom and missed the vista. I'm just going to use my Springer to kind of cheat and get back up there. This is one of those that's made to be reached very naturally without any help of mounts, but it doesn't really matter. It's just a vista. What we're actually going for is over there. This is a jumping puzzle, and you notice we're heading further south, kind of really off the beaten path, heading into this little area. There's usually more hostile enemies around, but there's some other players, and it's right down here is where you're going to want to jump, because you're going to see right there like that. Now we are in an underground passage, which is going to head towards the jumping puzzle. And we move on. Notice there's our path is obstructed. But if you move forward yet again, you are now underwater. You're going to swim through this rather linear passage. There are some enemies in the area. If you don't have your skills unlocked, don't worry about it. You can just swim and use your dodge button to swim a little faster to kind of evade their attacks. But There's nothing that's really threatening about them. Just keep moving forward, keep moving through, and you're going to get to the first jumping puzzle. Why do I bring up the jumping puzzles? Because they are kind of fun. This is it, actually. So you're looking at the first one I'm introducing here. A very straightforward one. I could just kind of cheese most of this with my mount. I'm not going to, just for the sake of kind of showing how you do it. I'm just going to run it normally. So why do I bring up jumping puzzles? I bring up jumping puzzles because it's one of the main foundations of the game itself, where ArenaNet knows that MMO players like to dink around in the environments. They like to do the stuff for fun. And kind of explore and see everywhere they can get and reach and see if there's any achievements for it. And so they have decided to make it so there are jumping puzzles which actually have rewards. There's a little fake path over there, and we kind of head to the left to there at that fork. There are little explorable areas where you can just kind of jump around and do some platforming to get to the treasure at the end. Some little clever platforming. Some of them are far more difficult than this. This is actually one of the easiest jumping puzzles in the entire game. And in fact, you can reach it so early, clear it so quickly. It's kind of nice. I'm just replying to someone in map chat. And then we continue on. This is just part of the philosophy of messing around in the game and enjoying it. Not really worrying about grinding or anything at the moment. Just kind of a reward to discover this stuff for going out of your way. I actually discovered this on my own by going out of my way back when I first started playing. My very first map was Caledon Forest, which is why I like it so much, I think. And then through these last couple jumps, you notice there's a treasure chest. You click on it, you actually would get an achievement if I hadn't gotten it before, and you get some nice items. You can check your inventory, see if there's anything new. And then there's a second jumping puzzle. Again, early on. This one, a little more difficult than the last. Why do I mention these jumping puzzles, though, and the importance of doing them? You can skip them if you don't want to, but there's nice achievements, there's nice gear behind it. Sometimes you'll have, a daily quest will have you, complete it for extra bonuses and whatnot, and achievements that you can get every day. Actually, here you can pick up a hero point, use it from your inventory, and it applies. And then this area is currently open, so we can head up and begin the puzzle. You can actually do these every day with your character. Each character can do these once a day and get the treasure box that's at the end. It's usually not a spectacular reward, but it is something. So if you really enjoy it, you can make a habit of running these. Case in point, I'm over here running it on my new character. Even though I've done this jumping puzzle here millions of times, I know all the little tricky things about it. It's actually pretty easy for me to get through, but it's just kind of fun to do it. You can pick up a little treasure at the end. I haven't seen that there before. And you notice this one's actually taking us a good bit of ground, so there's chance for injury when you fall. At the very top, there's chance for death if you fall, but that's why I picked up that waypoint that's there just to the north. This one doesn't take much longer to complete. You basically are going to run up around the side here. You're going to get to the top and you think, oh, I'm at the top of the jumping puzzle. No, you're actually not. Once you get around this little thing, which I had a little trouble with, you're going to head up here on these rocks, and then you're heading off the main island and onto these floating platforms. And that's going to actually take us to the chest. And so there's a few tricky jumps here. One thing that is kind of nice about being in Ashura is that these jumping puzzles are much easier because you can see your character much better than the other races. Each character, regardless of race, has the same size hitbox. The Ashura make it a bit easier, whereas if you're playing as a Char or Norn, it's a good bit harder. So you head over here, you can get your splendid chest. There's a couple animals you can tame back here if you're a ranger, but it's kind of nice. And there is another hidden area right back here. Now, if you just keep on going from where you were, there's some more platforms to go across, and it's going to take you to another area. And there's another player that's recently done the jumping puzzle. And this area is really only accessible from the jumping puzzle. You're going to kill some enemies, and I will say that you keep going, you're going to see these platforms. These are meant to get you to the ground safely. I don't know if you can't use your mountain here. You can't around some jumping puzzles, and I don't think you can use your glider either. There are some pretty strong enemies, so you want to use good wit about you venturing in this area. I clearly did not and end up going down. And yes, it does have a little mini abilities you can use while you're downed. But I tried to dodge around the best I could and ended up getting overwhelmed by many enemies that I'm not equipped at all to handle. But there we go. I'm back at full health. Just click the waypoint, and sometimes you'll get some damaged gear, which is free to repair at an armorer. But I'm okay, and then I just move right along. Now, by this point, your inventory is going to start filling up a good bit by the items, and there's a couple things I want to show you to manage it. First thing first, it is crucial to invest in inventory slots because you're very limited. You're going to be overwhelmed by items. The first thing I'm going to show you here, there's a black lion chest that you can say. That's the gambling loot box if you want to go that route. It's good just to save them and use them only when you get the keys for them. I don't recommend buying them, though you can get some good stuff. I wouldn't do it. Some of these items are goods. There's these two buttons here. Deposit all materials and compact. These are going to be your best friends. Now, you notice here this pearl, I have room in my bank to actually store it because each account's bank has material storage. And if I go up here and I click deposit all materials, it's going to put it into the bank if I have room. Some of the others didn't get deposited, but you notice there it went in immediately. And I didn't have to stop at my banker in order to do that. And then I hit compact and it brings it all together again. Now what I'm going to want to do is sell some stuff at the trading post, and the nicest thing about it is you can do it anywhere. Anywhere in the world, you can actually sell stuff on the trading post. So for example, I have this staff here. I closed my inventory, but I have this staff here, and when I right click on it, because my character can't use a staff, I can use sell at trading post, click it, and it's going to immediately pop up with a window. And you notice there's the currency, the going rate. On the bottom left is what people have orders for. On the bottom right is actually what I can put it on and wait for someone to buy it for. So you can sell it instantly if you want to do that, or you can just put it up there. If the numbers are very close together, sometimes I'll just sell it instantly. Here, I'm going to put it up there. I'm going to go ahead and click 1 copper less, or you can match it if you want. It doesn't really matter. And then you can sell it at that price. Notice you do have fees, but usually they're very marginal. So it is a mighty staff, so it's going to sell at some point. You can just be patient with it. And you have your other items here, and you can start going through and clicking on them. Some of these, it's good just to vendor them. It's probably for the best. The mighty shield, I bet I could sell. I'm going to go ahead and actually, I think what I do right here is I sell it to someone who had it ordered. Since power's pretty good, I can sell there. Oh, that's right. I can use the shield, so I don't sell it. But then over here, you see, I could just sell some stuff immediately because it doesn't make much of a difference. But that's the gist of the trading post. Another big thing that I want to talk about are builds. As we've been going around and exploring, we've been picking up these hero points. Look down there. I have an open utility slot, and there's just some racial abilities that aren't very good. All the races have different racial abilities, but they're not really good, and they're just kind of for flavor, for fun. So we're going to press H, open our hero menu. You see up here you have your equipment. We're going to go click on training. You see I had it open. Now these are your first 4 initial options that are available to you. These are your utility skills, and you can choose which one go on your bar. You see some of the different hero points that we picked up. It's all going to be here in the training menu, and there at the top you can see it actually indicates the number that I have, which is 9. Starting out, I recommend, and this is not meta, this is just completely what I recommend, you're eventually going to fill all these later, and then you'll eventually get your elite specializations when you get the expansions. And again, that content costs a lot more to get those going. You have to have everything else filled out at a point. But I recommend early on, if you have the option, unlock your signets, however you say it. There's these nice passive buffs that just in general are really good to have. I personally, there's the elixir tree, which is pretty nice. I personally am going to actually go with the kits. There's some gadgets. Each class has a good variety of these, some nice flavor. You always kind of want to mix and match. Very rarely do you want to go all in on any of one of these particular lines. But they are options for you, and usually start with a nice heal skill, and then some other utilities, and sometimes ending with an ultimate. I'm going to go with a kit, and immediately I have the medical kit. What I really want, I'm going to go ahead and buy this, and what I really want is I want to get at that flamethrower. That is so huge for engineers, and I recommend if you're an engineer starting out, grab yourself a flamethrower kit. It's one of the best things ever. It's got solid power and excellent condition damage. It's going to carry you through most of the game, and of course it's optional. You don't have to go this route, but I love the flamethrower. And of course with the engineer, we get an extra auxiliary skill, kind of at the top of our weapon skills there, that I just press, and it's going to you see each one is unique, whatever utility you have set. For example, this one makes the first 3 shots that I engage with is going to burn the enemy. Pretty nice little extra bonus that you should remember that you have. And then you press the flamethrower, and then look, all your weapon skills have been replaced. And this really worked out for me. This really worked out for me because all of a sudden there was an event here that I could participate in, as well as a follow-up event. And then all of a sudden, I was like, oh, this is perfect. I get to use my different flamethrower abilities and kind of show it off. So you notice my 1 through 5 have all been replaced with a flamethrower, which does some solid damage, great condition stuff, especially for burning. You know, for PvP, it's pretty good. Some players, I think, make themselves immune to burning a good bit. But it still should be really solid in general. Plus, you have access to a whole bunch of other condition stuff if you want to go full condition build. But even if you are going power, the flamethrower is great. You get to go ahead and experiment with these things. Like I said, most classes, if you have signets, I recommend going that route. They're nice passive things, and then just start getting more active abilities over time. Eventually, you're going to be picking up a whole bunch of them. Plus, I haven't even gotten into the whole quote-unquote talent trees for the classes yet. But that is this whole thing to add further customization to how your class plays. So, some players down there, so I'm going to help them out. First, I'm going to kind of nuke down the enemy, and then I'm going to help heal up the player, get them back on their feet, since they are actually fully dead. They're not just down, they are fully dead. So once the enemy's dead, I can go over, there's a player, help them out, and one of the other players is helping too, gets them back on the feet, and look at that, I got experience. You get experience for any sorts of stuff in this game, which is really quite great. And that, in fact, leads me to the very last thing I want to talk about, which is going to be the whole gathering stuff. So, let's talk gathering whatnot. So, you notice here I got some gathering tools just from leveling up. You'll get a basic set. You will want to go to vendors and start upgrading these over time, so you can get better resources. And plus, these break after use. They all break after use unless you have like some of the real nice exclusive unlimited items from the gem store, which you eventually can earn with gold. But I strongly recommend that you, once you pick up some gathering tools, that you get into gathering, even if you don't plan to craft. It's good to gather, to start filling the material storage in your bank, start filling that up, but also you can make some good money selling excess stuff on the trading post. And also, another thing that's really nice when you're starting out is that, again, gathering, like most everything in this game, gives you experience. So you notice right here, I bring her over, I start mining, and then I'm getting experience as I'm gathering the copper ore and some other bonuses, whatever goodies come out of that node. And you can see them there on the bottom right-hand side, the mini-map. You have other things that are available for harvesting. We picked up a mineral, some ore, and now there's a tree over here we can cut down to gather some wood. And one of the really nice things in Guild Wars 2 is these are not competitive nodes. Everyone sees these nodes on their map. Everyone can harvest from them and gain the materials, which is really, really nice. Everyone can get a nice stack of stuff that they can put in their bank or sell on the post. You're not having to go, oh no, there's another player, they're going to run and harvest the node before I can get to it. No, everyone can harvest all the nodes. It's just that once you harvest it, it disappears for you. But for every other player, it's still available. And so between mining and logging, you also have gathering, which you'll notice I'm going to gather something in just a second. Instead of having 3 little hits or 3 chops, there's just one with gathering, or gathering from plants and whatnot, and vegetables. Just one. A good bit of experience is more rare. They typically, most of the axes and mining picks give you 100 uses before they run out. Harvesting sickles give you just 50, but you see that's why is you only do 1 harvest when you harvest from sickle, and you're going to want that for cooking and just selling ingredients. You can make a lot of money just selling the ingredients for cooking and whatnot. So just keep it up while you're playing. Before I go, there is a couple of things I want to point out. First is going to be Metabattle. Now, early on, you don't need to worry about builds, but eventually when we reach the end game, you start getting content with other players, you're going to want to think about some good meta builds. You go to this site, metabattle.com, and you can click through every class. So you can kind of see there's a good bit of diversity here. You're looking through, you have Hollowsmith, you have Scrappers, sometimes you have Core Engineer. You can tell by the little icons and what elite's specializations they're running. For whatever you're looking for, you can go on Metabattle and you'll find, when you click on a good bit of detail about whatever class you're looking up, you can see every class is pretty diverse like this. So it is a great resource for planning builds down the road. Not so much for leveling, but a good resource to have for the future. And finally, this video wouldn't be complete if I didn't give you guys some good YouTuber recommendations from other content creators on YouTube that are much better than I am. First big one, Mighty Teapot. Mighty Teapot, GW2. Throw that in. You're going to see some amazing content from him. Look at that. Hey, this one guy down there, Wooden Potatoes. He's pretty good too. You can look at the top, Wooden Potatoes. Amazing content. Really good stuff. I mean, these guys are super helpful in the community. If you want some entertainment, go ahead and click on Noxie's stuff. He is hilarious. A lot of stuff is just humor. Guild Wars kind of humor, but it's great stuff to get into. There's tons of content on YouTube other than just me, and you already know that. That being said, thank you for watching this video. Feel free to leave comments. Be sure to like and subscribe. If this stuff is interesting to you, I'm going to keep this going. I'm going to come back. We're going to do a little bit more of exploring the world and leveling up this character. Like I said, I already have an Assurant Engineer, so this is already territory I've trodden before. If you have questions, you want to know something specifically, let me know and I'll talk about it. I'm going to be going through the different levels and kind of showing you the progress over time, talking about different things that open up. I do eventually want to talk about SPVP and WVW, World v World they call it. That is a whole new dimension of combat, and then of course dungeons. I want to get into that eventually and kind of explain how it works. There's so much content you can do, and the nice thing is that in this game, everything is like a little miniature world you can explore, and everything you do is going to give you experience to get up to the max level to enable you to do whatever it is you literally want to do. Which is kind of nice. This is one of the best things about Guild Wars 2 is you can do anything you want, and you're going to get experience and rewards for it that are going to benefit you, and then you work your way forward, set your own goals. We'll talk about gear when we get to the end game. Right now, just go with either stuff that gives you power or condition damage. It doesn't matter. Just keep it up. Start working on your character. I'm going to catch back up with you after I get Sally here past Caledon Forest, so that's probably going to be a few days before I get that video out because it takes a good bit of time for me to edit all this stuff and put it together. Please let me know your feedback. And I think that's about it. Thanks for watching.